Hi, this is Don Samuels, and this is the second in our series of weekly broadcasts, podcasts, YouTube casts to bring the community up to date with some of the things we're doing here in the 5th Ward and at City Hall to support our residents. Now, we want to talk today a little bit about lead poisoning and some of the issues around that. You should know that in 2009, 6,762 children between the ages of 1 and 2 were screened for lead poisoning in the city. That's due to the great work the city and the county and our partners do. You should also know that each year, children between the ages of 1 and 2 are tested. And in 1995, there were 172 children tested for lead poisoning, and they were found to have elevated blood levels of lead. That's in 1995. And just 4 years later, only 122 children were found with elevated blood levels in lead in 2009. So we're making great progress because people are being proactive, and there are some ways that you can be proactive to prevent your child from being ill. By the way, some of the symptoms of elevated blood levels are ADHD is attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, and ADD is simply attention deficit disorder. And these things lead to hyperactivity, of course, a lack of focus, impulsivity, an inability to learn, and can lead to a lot of academic and social problems. So this is really important. Sometimes it goes all the way through to adulthood. And of course, it particularly affects people in our community because we live in the older buildings, in the older parts of the city. And 56% of all children who are identified as having elevated blood levels are renters. So it's important for the lower income community and people living in older homes to take caution. If you have a new home and you're moving in, you should check for exposure to lead. And if you are living in an older home, say earlier than 1978, you have a 6-year-old or younger, you should have that child tested. If you're going to have a baby, you should check your home first. And I'm going to give you some contact information for who you can call here at the city to have one of those tests done. Now, you should call 311, and ask for Angela Hackle. And she's a family support specialist in environmental health and special projects in our Department of Health. Call 311 and call Angela Hackle, and she will tell you how you can have your home tested for lead. Together we can make our children healthy. If we have 122 children last year, we can bring that number down to 0 and make lead poisoning an obsolete phenomenon in our community.